City Commission workshop for Tuesday, March 28, 2023, now come to order. Please silence your cell phones. City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Hartman.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner McGurk.
Here.
Commissioner Preen. Here. Thank you.
All right, we're ready for public participation. Is there any citizen who wishes to speak? Please approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to address the City Commission during this time.
Good evening, Joe Dluvac, 358 Seneca South the Circle, Venetian Bay. I'd like to make a suggestion that I'd made at previous city meetings, and that is that the Development Service Department is grossly overworked, understaffed, and underfunded. While the point has been made that New Smyrna Beach has the second lowest mill rate in the county, it comes at a price, and that price is exposed during any major development like Venetian Bay. Once the pre-op meetings have been held, site reviews, plans reviewed, and developments approved, there's no significant follow-up by the city. We, in effect, are allowing the developer to self-monitor. My recommendation is that sufficient personnel be assigned such that someone from the department is assigned to each development cradle to grave so that we can compare what is happening to the MDAs, to the LDRs, to all of the governing documents. What has been allowed to happen in Venetian Bay, quite frankly, is a travesty. The homeowners say so, the merchants say so, even Jerry Johnson, the father, originator of Venetian Bay, says so. So I'd like to make the suggestion that we, in fact, increase the capacity of the services department, and if it bears a cost that is not appropriate, then we should have the developer fund such a service as a cost of doing business with the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public participation? Seeing none, then we'll move right on into our workshop, and our first mini budget workshop is the airport. So if Arvin Weiss wants to come forward, do you have a presentation for us?
Sorry, if you put the notes.
That's a slick move, Joe.
He's just testing you, Arvin. See if you're on your best game here.
I guess I'll wing it.
He meant to get Shane's notes.
I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. I said, wait a minute. Well, thank you, Vice Mayor Hartman and Commissioners, for your time and the opportunity to discuss the airport budget wish list. So just begin with the airport's vision. As the aeronautical gateway to our community, the New Smyrna Beach Airport strives to provide users with safe, first-class aviation facilities while promoting economic development to ensure our long-term financial sustainability. Our team works hard every day to fulfill that vision, whether it's mowing the grass on our 700 acres of property, changing a runway light bulb, or working to find a grant to repair a runway. We're passionate about serving our community and the aviation community through the management of this economic engine we call an airport. The most recent economic impact study conducted by the Florida Department of Transportation estimates that our airport has an annual economic impact of $241 million. That was in 2022. That's up from $100 million in 2014. Businesses on the airfield generate 1,700 jobs and $80 million in payroll. Statewide airports contribute about $336 billion to the economy. Our new Smyrna Beach Airport is a public use airport. It's one of 130 public use airports in the state of Florida. Public airport is considered a critical part of the state and the nation's transportation system. As you can see on this route map from 2021, we truly are a gateway to many other destinations throughout the U.S., especially through the eastern United States. Not shown on this map is our international traffic, which frequently travels to South America and the Bahamas. Demand for airport services and facilities continue to increase, along with revenue, but at the same time, we have an increased burden when it comes to being in compliance with federal regulations on fuel quality, fuel facilities, environmental regulations, fire and building code, runway and taxiway safety, obstruction analysis, and others. Our phone rings almost constantly throughout the day with tenant concerns or noise complaints or airfield emergencies. Our admin, Tammy Hall, who also helps manage the property and also oversees our grant applications and processes, she struggles to keep up with the constant stream of visitors and phone calls, along with her other duties. I'm requesting that we add another admin to serve primarily as our receptionist so that our contract administrator can focus her efforts on property management, grant and contract administering, and other duties to help us run the airport. We also have 2 airport maintenance workers and 1 ground maintenance worker. We need all 3 to be able to perform the functions of an airport maintenance worker, so we're able to rotate weekends and provide support on the weekends. We're also asking them to take a more active role in runway inspection and wildlife control, in addition to fuel quality control, which is a very important responsibility as it directly impacts the safety of flight. Having clean, dry fuel is essential to the safe operation of aircraft, and the quality control checks we're asking our team to perform are adding to the responsibility, and I'm asking that we pay them accordingly. When all 3 workers are fully trained, we'll have a more evenly spaced customer service presence throughout the week and the weekend. I believe that the requests I'm changing in staffing should improve our ability to manage our properties, our airfield, and airport systems, improve our customer service, safety, and add redundancy to our staff. It's an investment in the airport team and the airport. Looking at our operating budget comparison, I did add a column that shows our proposed budget for fiscal year 23-24 with some numbers that I believe are a good estimate at this point. Right away, you see the jump in cost for personnel, as mentioned. Our operating expenses in general are increasing because although we try to cut where we can, the cost of fuel is unpredictable, and that is something that is calculated in our operating expense. The cost of repair and maintenance, of course, as you know, continues to go up. We continue to have significant building maintenance costs to our buildings, especially with our proximity to the saltwater. I'm working with maintenance operations to lease a new 4-door pickup truck for the airfield at a cost of $10,000 a year. Having a vehicle will give us greater utility when we're on the airfield. There's situations where we find ourselves where we don't have enough room to transport passengers off the airfield if there's an emergency, and we have an aircraft that's blown a tire or whatever, and just having a 4-door vehicle would be would help us greatly for that utility. We also have plans to host an air show in 2024. Planning is underway to resurrect what was the New Smyrna Beach Sky Fest, but the vision is to recreate the event that was so successful in years past. Almost all of the volunteers for the previous events have stepped up and said they would love to help, including Rhonda Walker, our former airport manager. Our vision is to host this event as an opportunity for the airport to give some fun and enjoyment to citizens who might not otherwise be involved in the airport. To introduce aviation to a new generation, as well as honor those generations that have come before us who served in the military. In doing so, we honor the rich military heritage and roots of our airport's very beginning as a World War II aviation training facility. Our requested budget is $150,000, which we believe will be captured in ticket sales and sponsorships. Any leftover proceeds will be donated to charity. Going into the revenue portion of the budget, just a reminder that the airport fund is a special revenue fund that does not participate in the general fund. Instead of receiving local tax revenue, the airport revenue is generated by user fees, which is in our case is primarily the leasing of facilities commercial hangar and office space and T hangars, and also the sale of fuel. We are one of 130 public use airports in the state of Florida, as I mentioned earlier, and because we are a public airport, we're eligible for federal grants from the FAA and FDOT, which are in large part funded by taxes on aviation and other aviation products. Just going line by line, charges for services is the sale of fuel, fines and forfeitures, that would be late fees, and miscellaneous revenue is our land lease, ground lease, commercial lease, T hangars. And you can see our staffing changes there. This is a diagram showing, or chart showing our year-end fund balance for the past few years. We are required to keep a certain percentage in our fund per our fund balance policy. As you can see, we average between about $1.5 and $2 million, and that's calculated at year end. Moving into our capital improvement projects requests. This is our current year. So these are some of the projects that we are in the process of completing, have been completed, or will be completed this year. As you can see, there's multiple taxiway projects that are in various stages. We are, the Taxiway Alpha project is in its final stages of design. We have a T hangar building that has significant corrosion, and we just went out to bid for that. And one of our most favorite projects is the fuel farm improvement. That's the addition of a 12,000 gallon tank that will help us mitigate some of the issues now that we run into with supply and demand. We recently had to go all the way to North Carolina to get fuel because Florida had no avgas at all. They were completely out. So there's issues with terminals and things like that. So having more space means that we're not so critical, on almost running out all the time. We also plan to design the replacement for several runway PAPI system. PAPI stands for Precision Approach Path Indicators. They're a series of light boxes that sit next to the runway. They shine towards the aircraft as they're approaching, and it gives them a visual descent guidance. So they're able to determine how high or low they are and if they're on the correct glide path. That's part of a project that we are asking for to be designed, I believe it is in 23 and constructed in 24, and I'll get to that. The other projects here, we had a land acquisition. You'll see that. We were successful in purchasing a property, Baker Aviation, and that is now a revenue-generating property. And I believe everything else is there, so you can see it's either design 1 year, construct the next. Our wish list for next year, fiscal year 24. Again, the PAPI runway lighting system would be constructed. Taxiway Bravo removal project that was designed this year is going to be constructed. This is an important project because it brings us into compliance with the FAA because it makes changes to the runway ends that'll allow a safer approach path. I'm also asking that we redesign our admin facility. So FDOT committed $2 million to build us an admin facility, which we have not done. The reason we didn't build it is because we had an opportunity to purchase the property that was revenue generating, and also the admin building came over budget at that time. That was prior to me coming on board. The design that we have doesn't currently address our current or future needs. It focuses mainly on having a couple offices and then a big garage. Well, we recently came to you all and you approved us to buy a shed for $25,000, which solves our storage needs for our equipment. So we save that footprint. But what we feel is, based on what we see at other airports and based on our needs, is that we would be better served by having what is the equivalent of a general aviation terminal. So it's not a terminal in the sense of you're thinking of as a commercial space, a commercial airport, like, with gates and jetways. But it nevertheless is something in between that and what we have now. 2,500 square feet, between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet, whatever $2 million will get us, which is not a lot, but it would be much more modern than what we have now, would serve and allow us some room to grow into the future, not a lot, and also would be more representative of the city, because what we now have now doesn't really represent us in the best light. We're not planning a big building. We anticipate, like I said, the footprint, and we're not going to design something we can't build. We will be mindful of that budget every step of the way. You know, we're not going to design something and then say, we don't want to build it. That's just a waste of money. We would also like to design and build an additional T-hangar. That would have funding, as you can see there, design and construct in the same year. Our demand is significant. We have about 80 people on our waiting list at any given time. Some people drop off, some people are added. We add several a week. So the FDOT will participate at that at 80% because they look at that as an investment in the airport being able to be self-sustaining. They don't want us to run out of money to maintain the airport, so they're willing to give us money so that we can make money. So although we're seeing an increase in costs in building another set of T-hangars, we're continuing to look forward to how we can build more revenue-generating space. And I know that the community is sensitive to noise, so one of the things I do want to make you aware of is that a T-hangar in itself, it's about 16 units, so that's 16 aircraft, and those folks fly maybe once a week, sometimes far less. And they don't generally typically stay in the pattern. They take off and they leave. So it's for pleasure, mostly. Generally, it's typically somebody in there, maybe they're a retired airline pilot or they're, and it's a hobby. So it's not something that you necessarily see a big impact on noise, just that in and of itself. So again, as a public airport receiving federal funds, we're required to establish and maintain a master plan which forecasts our projected projects over the next 20 years. This looks down the road. This particular chart here, this particular list, looks down the road into 2028. It's a moving target, but I share this just to show that our focus is maintaining the current infrastructure, adding safety features as we need, and revenue generating space in order to further our goal of being self-sustaining. And finally, just a total funding request from 2023 to 2028. The total estimated cost of projects, FAA funding, FDOT funding, and EVB, I'm sorry, that wasn't clear. I had a question on that. That's our airport 3-letter code. So when you're flying into an airport, you know, Jacksonville's JAX, MCO's MCO, Atlanta, ATL, we're EVB. We'd love to get it changed to NSB, but priorities. And then I noted in previous budget presentations that the presenters were asked to provide some metrics on how they measure their department's performance. First and foremost, financially. We measure our performance financially. We are, in a sense, a business. And we will continue to do that, and that's a moving target. Tenant feedback, staff feedback, FAA and FDOT audits. We're audited every year. We get a runway inspection, or we get an airport inspection, and we get our license. We get one of the projects I asked for is that runway, that Taxiway Bravo runway compliance. That's one of the things that was noted on our previous license. When they gave it to us, it says you need to address this. So that's what we're trying to do. Tower survey, and we're working to implement a user and tenant survey so that we can actually get hard, fast facts that we can track over time. And that's all I have. I'm sorry if I ran over, but
We know
questions?
Joe stole your notes, so we'll go easy on you. Great job winging it. That was amazing.
yeah, those are no notes, guys.
Does anybody else have any questions for Arvin?
I do.
I was going to say, Arvin was very gracious and answered all my questions earlier this week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arvin.
Sure, anytime.
So it's not exactly on the budget. I just wanted to make a point to you and the commission about the operations of the airport. So the airport is surrounded by neighborhoods all around it. And flight schools are by far the vast majority of the flights that happen at the airport. The only point I want to make is, I think we're a little heavy on that in terms of how the airport's operated and what I think would be the goal of the future. That is not that Arvin has any part of that. That is something over time that has grown. So, just like anything, the flight schools are great. They need to be there. Flight schools in general, obviously, are critically important to airports to operate and have new pilots. But too much of one thing could be not too good. If we had 100, I like a few hotels in town at 3 stories. If we had 5 hotels or even 1 hotel at 20 stories, it's the same use, but it's different. If we had 100 hotels at 3 stories in this town, it would be too much of one thing. So we have a reality that is difficult to get a hold of. And Arvin, he's right in the middle of it, doing everything he can. He has done an amazing job in the short time he's been in charge to try to help facilitate and deal with the flights. But just going forward, my thoughts are, we're heavy on one single particular use at the airport. And other than that, Arvin, great job. Nice presentation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. It was very well thought out and lots of information, so we thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're good?
All right. Thank you all very much.
All right, next we'll hear from Development Service Director Shane Corbin. Do you have a presentation for us? I didn't forget your name tonight.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
All right. Good evening. It's my first time up here operating, so let's see what I need to do. Get through this. Wrong one. Which one? Can I just use the arrows? All right, good evening. Shane Corbin, your new Director of Development Services. I believe I'm in my 5th week now, and I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm trying to power through this, so bear with me. Let's see. To start off, we'll look at our org chart. You can see that we've got several divisions. We've got planning, engineering, and building, and under building, we've got code as well. We're almost completely fully staffed. Right now, we're only missing 2 positions. One is a compliance officer that's in building, as well as a permit tech, which is in building. All total, we have 39 positions. Again, the bulk of that is in building, 22 full-time employees in building, 7 in code, and then we've got 5 in planning, 5 in engineering, of course, myself. Our challenges. As you all know, the development volume is very high. We've got a lot going on, and in the 5 weeks I've been here, I've been very surprised, and I've worked in some pretty busy places. And what I've seen here has been very eye-opening. I'm hearing what the residents are saying, as well as the developers, and seeing things coming in and seeing things that may be years down the road. A lot is happening, and so our challenge is to process all of that information, process the permits, give good presentations and good information to you all. And one of the ways that we try to be efficient is through technology and through training our staff as much as possible. Some examples of this would be the implementation of the Bluebeam electronic plan review. So now all of our plan reviewers can make comments as well as call out the actual elements of the plans to show what they're commenting on, and get those back to the developers or the contractors. That's proving to be very efficient. We have an IVR system for contractors now where they can call in 24 hours, schedule their inspections. Before, they'd have to do that when we had a human here to answer the phone and schedule those. We've implemented InterGov to do all of our permit tracking, as well as our application tracking for everything that happens on a parcel. We can track whether it's a variance or a zone change or permit, whatever it is. InterGov can track all of that. We're doing land development project tracking and public communication tools. You've seen our YouTube videos, do the monthly development reports. Those have proven to be very successful, and our online application service. I was very happy when I got here to see that all the applications can be done online. So New Smyrna Beach is actually ahead of the game of a lot of other communities on that. I heard you guys wanted to see some historical data, so we mined some data. This is our building permit applications. This is everything. This is whether you're pulling a residential permit that covers your roof, your building, your footers, all your mechanicals, or you're pulling a fence permit. This is for 2021, 22, and 23 so far. So these are for the calendar years. And so you can see that in 2022, there was a record. And it'll be interesting to see what the number for 2023 does with interest rates that have risen and potentially building slowing down a little bit. Our building official has said that he believes that the residential permits are slowing down a little bit. So that may slow everything down, but we just don't know yet. At the end of the year, we'll take another look at it and compare and see how we did. We included this one. We issue business tax receipts for all businesses that are registered with the city. You can see the top bar in the purple blue. That indicates that the local businesses lean heavily towards tourism. That is for lodging and food service. So that the local businesses make up the bulk based on our data that we have of the local businesses, followed by professional, scientific, and technical services, and then retail, and then construction. Code enforcement lives in the building department. Over the last, let's see, 2021 and 2022, issued over 900 violations. The vast majority of those came into compliance voluntarily. That's the graph in the top left. Again, we're tracking 23, so we'll see how that goes. I would assume they probably be fairly consistent. The graph on the right shows what happens if they don't come into compliance. And the majority of those end up at the special magistrate. A handful end up at the code board. And even fewer of those end up actually accruing fines. And so the goal is really compliance, it's not enforcement. And I think we're doing a good job at that. I won't read all of this word for word. It's in your packet. But I will focus on the first two bullets. And just talking to staff, from what I've heard, there were some complaints in years past about the permit times. And that's not uncommon. That's pretty, very common in all communities. People are impatient, contractors are impatient. And so what we're hearing is that most plan reviews are being completed within 10 business days, which is very, very good. And permits not requiring a plan review are issued within 2 business days, some even day of. And so that's pretty fast. And so if you're getting a fence permit, Mechanical permit, something relatively small, should be in and out the door in 2 days. And that gets those out of the way, keeps them from bottlenecking the larger projects and holding things up. Also, building was highly involved after the Hurricane Ian in doing substantial damage estimates. They did those for over 500 properties within weeks of the event. And we recently met with FEMA and went through everything that we did. And they were very impressed that we were ahead of the curve on that. This is the financial data going back to 2019 for building expenditures. One number you can see the reduction capital outlay, 74.89%. The change has to do with vehicle purchases. Otherwise, it's remained relatively flat. The revenue, you can see, is down. Last year, 66%, and that's because we were waiving the fees for people who had storm damage. So if someone came in and said they had storm damage, and we could easily verify that they had storm damage, we've been waiving their fees. The county stopped doing that March 7th, and we're going to extend ours to April 7th unless we're given direction to extend it even further. So we're going a little bit further than the county on that. That is taking a hit out of the building department, but it's a service to the residents. This slide has been edited from what was in your packet, and we caught this today. This has to do with pre-application meetings in the planning department. And a pre-application meeting could be for anything. It could be for someone that wants to open a car lot, they want to open a restaurant, they want to build a 1,000-lot subdivision, want to build a hotel. It's an opportunity for them to come in or we actually do them on Zoom and speak with the relevant plan reviewers, the utility commission, and talk about any challenges and basically do their due diligence on, can I do this project? Should I move forward with this project? Is it worth my time? What are the hurdles? What's the timeline? All those kinds of questions. And so those are really helpful. A lot of the people that have those meetings, they go away because they decide that it's just not worth their time and effort to try to put the project through. But some of them actually do move forward. And this data actually is shown in fiscal year, not calendar year. So we did edit that as well. And then the total planning applications, that has to do with everything from site plans, zone changes, annexations, use by exceptions, and things of that nature. So we'll be tracking those and see how we've done in years past. We took a look at some of the common planning applications to see what their trends were. Subdivision plats are showing a trend of going up. PUDs and rezonings are going up. Site plans are going up. Annexations are going down. We think the reason of that is the annexation program has been around for a while, and so when it was initially made available, a lot of people took advantage of it, and so now people are trickling in. They're not coming in as fast as they once were. And so we made, depending on our resources, we may do a public education or public outreach, see if we can't reach some more people and get more people annexed in. This is a pretty interesting group of numbers. This is a newly created residential lots for single-family homes. In 2020, 270, another 247 in 21, 358. 22. We have several significant developments in the pipeline, and I think we could surpass that once we start to put together the 2023 data. So it's a lot of new single-family lots. With engineering, I'm going to focus on really the second and third bullet. As you all are aware, they commenced with the first ever single-family elevation of homes. Did 9 using HMGP grant dollars. This actually made national news. It made it up to me in Atlantic Beach. And my city engineer came to me and said, hey, why aren't we doing this? So New Smyrna Beach was leading the charge. And we're proceeding with advertising and the demolition of 17 flood-prone homes funded by HMGP grant money. Engineering is also working on the Indian River Lagoon Basin to enhance the LDR regulations for water quality guidelines. And they've submitted several applications to the River to Sea TPO for feasibility studies for trails throughout the community. Here is the historical data, financial data, 2019 for planning and engineering. You see that number actually jumps significantly high. And the reason for that is because last year, a decision was made to change the funding sources for the personnel and the operating expenses. Previously, they were funded through multiple funds. They were funded through the general fund, stormwater fund, and the building fund. Last year, I'm told a decision was made to consolidate that and pull all of that out of the general fund. So that's why that number is so skewed, what you see there. So my big asks. We need an iPad for engineering, so they can do engineering inspections using their iPad. It's more efficient. We've got an estimated cost at $2,500 for that, along with the case. And now that we are fully staffed, we actually probably need 2 vehicles, but we're asking for one 4-door hybrid at a cost of approximately $41,000. Looking ahead, one of the things we want to do to continue to improve the efficiency of our permitting is to upgrade all of our permit techs to zoning techs. That will, right now, most of the zoning questions all get funneled through one position. We want to spread that out over all of the zoning. We're currently permit techs to zoning techs. They have to go through training, so there will be a budget impact there. We don't have those numbers yet, but we believe that we can even further advance the efficiency of getting the permits in and out the door if we can get all of our permit techs upgraded to zoning techs. We're going to do training on green construction code. We want to do more outreach to contractors and the public. We're in the process of putting a kiosk in the lobby. So we've got some people that aren't necessarily tech savvy or don't have a computer at home and they don't know how to do online applications. So we'll have a kiosk in the lobby so they can do that and we can assist them. And code compliance is moving towards notice of violation hearings using InterGov. That's all I've got. For questions, and I've got some division heads with me as well.
So thank you for your presentation. Jason?
Thank you for your presentation. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Question, you say you're going to be fully staffed. You addressed in your presentation exactly, you're going to be fully staffed, you're going to try to get those permits out quicker. I want to help you make sure you're meeting those goals. So I'm happy that you feel you're fully staffed, but I want you to make sure that you believe you're fully staffed. I want to be able to address that issue head on, and more importantly, once you get them staffed, what is the likelihood of other cities poaching our people? And And I love the fact that you're going to take the permitting and make, and train them to be able to deal with more. My concern is that that'll make them even more likely to get poached. So I just want to bring that up as a possibility. We need to make sure we're paying them competitively so they don't get poached. There's a lot into that and what I had to say, but I'm excited to hear you're staffed, fully staffed with those two positions.
And I've been very pleasantly surprised with the caliber of staff that I've inherited. It's great.
That's great to hear. Awesome. So thank you. I appreciate and I appreciate you coming in not feeling a little under the weather.
No problem.
Commissioner Martin?
Thank you, Shane.
Shane, I have a question. I don't know if you can answer this or not, but hopefully. Our parking enforcement has been implementing a new software service to track back unpaid parking fees. I'm wondering about what we have implemented for our back fines not paid, and if you have a schedule of that. I know some of those get written off. Is there a way you could let us see what we have in back fines and when you place the liens on these and how much have been written off annually?
Is this are you talking about code enforcement?
For code enforcement, yes, sir.
I haven't dug into that yet, but typically you have a rolling fine that accrues at so many dollars per month, and then at some point you put a lien on the property. I'm not exactly sure what our process is here. Gary, do you know?
The lien process is, give them every opportunity to pay, of course, the city, being the nice city we are. We go through the process, and lien amnesty, I think you just recently gave it to code enforcement, where the code enforcement is going to start doing the lien amnesties now. So they're going to start doing the lien amnesties. So I'm really not sure how that's going to work yet through the department, because it's a new process that we're working on. In the past, it's been pretty generous, and I think we need to get a little bit more, of our money back or our time back, at least to break even. So that's where I'm sitting.
Do you have a number or could you guys get us some numbers
Sure.
for that? I'd like to just see annually what we actually put liens on, how much we're collecting, how much are in back years, and how much are written off.
And how long of a period would you want?
At 3 years,
Okay,
or
I'll-
whatever you can have access to.
Well,
And if we have software that's doing that now, or if we need software like the parking enforcement that has done, that generates letters, or I don't know your process on that. So anything you could just give us on that would be great.
Once we get the code enforcement into Intergov, it'll work a lot smoother. We'll be able to track a lot more and have a lot more information. They're not quite up to speed yet. They're still using some of their old software where it's a little bit confusing. So we've been pushing them a little bit harder to get back into Intergov, so we'll be able to monitor those numbers.
Thank you, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Valley was saying. We have been exceptionally forgiving to the point where we almost incent people not to comply. So I'd like a little more emphasis on, let's get it together, folks.
Okay.
Any other questions? Shane, thank you for your time, and
Thank
go home
you.
and go to bed.
Yeah.
We're up to commission comments. Is there any other comments anybody would like to make? I'll start with Zone 1. No?
No, thank you.
Zone 2?
Just, I would like some consistency between calendar and fiscal. I'm always sort of jumping back and forth trying to figure out these numbers.
Nothing? Just to Joe's point, I don't know if you're aware of it, but next week, I believe, the planning director actually starts. So that's one of the positions that he talked about was filled already. City planning manager, yes. It's the planning manager starts. So that's one of those positions that we've had vacant for quite some time and will get filled. So we're looking forward to that. if there's no other business before us, we're going to adjourn the meeting for